to TGP2 live from Italy in Monza, and tonight we'll also be going to Singapore. It has been a damp start to this qualifying session, and the guys are now funneling out on slick tyres as it's drying up, so people are desperately starting to funnel in these fast laps, so the times are only going to get quicker. For them, I'm joined by John-Luke Taylor, so John, to introduce yourself, why don't you quickly take us through the order whilst I tweet this link?
No problem. Evening all. Currently on the circuit, most of the drivers are out on low laps, and it's the McLaren of Mr. John, 1976, on pole with 24.0. 2 tenths behind is AFCB James, who has just crashed on the exit of the first chicane. He's out of the session. We have Wace in P3 in the Haas, 4 tenths off, as Sir Lanix now takes pole in the Toro Rosso. Down in 5th we have Chris Johnson, who is currently in the pits with just 2 minutes to go. 10th behind him is Jacko, who is slowly cruising back into the pits, likely out of fuel. 7th position Bazza, a 1:27.9, yet to do a really competitive time in the drying conditions. And then we have the big hitters towards the back. Joe Sayer down in P8 in the Force India on an outlap. Behind him on a 29 flat, early pole man, but now down in 9th, Dom Smith in the Mercedes. Yet to do laps, Mr. Giapelli in the Ferrari in 10th, Red Bull Kim, the Sauber in P11, 12th place Jack Pearson in the Force India, and Mike Noon in the Renault in 13th.
I'm surprised about Jack and Mike. They haven't set a lap yet. I'm presuming they're going to leave right till the last second. I'm at the moment currently following Luca in the Ferrari at Monza. Feel like home. Because he did say to me before, these are the best fans in the world. Let's see how he goes. Very cautiously, very neatly though, through the second chicane as he now heads into Lisbon. I'm so pathetic with these corner names.
Yes, he's just in the exit of the second Lesmo now.
Coming off the back straight, DRS.
So Lanix now takes pole, 1:22.4.
We are definitely starting to get into the full dry lap time. So Lanix will probably go again, I'd imagine. We'd have to, I suppose.
I'm just seeing the Mercedes of Dom Smith at the last corner now, currently P10 here. I'm pretty sure he's about to finish a lap here.
Okay, well, he goes pole. 1:21.8. That's again, we're getting Mike Noon, 1:21.3. The lap times are tumbling now. Go back to Luke if I can very quickly. He's coming around to the final corner. Nails it, guns it for the line. He does have one more lap if he wants to go. He goes third, the 1:22.2.
Jack Pearson now.
Jack Pearson only goes third. I'd be slightly disappointed with that. 1:21.9. He's about half a second off, 6 tenths of a second off Mike. He will definitely be going again as Weiss has retired from the session, so he'll do no better than P9. Did he crash?
Yes, Jack has just crashed at the same spot, it looks like.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, yes he has.
I think both drivers went onto track too late to complete an outlap to start the final lap. At the top, Mike and Dom Smith are both off, so...
Dom has... His car is now flipping.
It's over. Oh my. That's a massive accident. And just ahead of him, Mike Noon is also off.
Mike's been as well. Jack is having to go through.
Lanix takes P2.
He does. Jack is going through a war zone of people, left, right, and centre. His lap has been seriously compromised. Red Bull Kim in 9th on these soft tyres.
He's on a lap still as well.
Is he?
The main team to watch: Jack Pearson and Luca Chiapelli, both behind each other on the circuit towards the last corner, the Parabolica.
These are the men to watch. So we'll go with Luca first as he is coming around the Parabolica. Bit of a slight. I think that's cost him too much.
And Jack Pearson's run wide and hit the wall.
Jack has slammed it in the wall in the background. Oh dear. So the end of the session, which we bring lots of high-end drama and excitement. Kind of everyone bottled it. Kind of John-Luke Taylor in TGP1 and in TGP Cars and in TGP FIFA.
We just have one more car. Chris Johnson's about to cross the line now. He's up to P7 and that just leaves Red Bull Kim.
Red Bull Kim. He is on the soft tyres. I think he's pitting in though. It doesn't look like he's pushing.
It looks like that's the end of the session.
So we'll run down through the order. In pole position we have Mike Noon. Joining him on the front row is Sir Lanix. Row 2, third position Dom Smith. Jack Pearson in 4th. Luca in 5th, Bazza in 6th, Chris Johnson 7th, Joe Sayer 8th. He'll be slightly disappointed in that, be wanting to be higher up. Mr. John in 9th, Red Bull came in 10th on the soft tyres, according to my screen.
Yep.
FCB James in 11th, Waste 12th, and Jacko in 13th place. A slightly mixed up grid there, so we could see some. The first corner's going to be very interesting. Lots of daring late braking, I'm going to assume.
Yes, definitely. It's also worth pointing out Sir Lanix and Dom Smith are separate by just 0.003 of a second
yes.
on their times. And the 3 that went off really cost themselves. Weiss, AFCB James, and I believe the last one was
Jacko?
also Jacko.
Yes.
Yes, Weiss and Jacko looked like they left the pits too late to start a final lap, and AFCB James was P2 early on and ended up crashing out. And it's cost, all 3 have cost themselves, so good opportunity there.
This is going to be a very interesting, entertaining race. Do stay tuned for this. It's going to be fireworks. Mike Newton is probably in the prime position. If he does a repeat of what he did in Hungary, he could scold her off and let them all fight out. Would be exactly his plan as we go into the race. And I've got to make sure I press X to not be fired by Dom Smith and F1.
It's definitely worth looking at, seeing how Luca, Mike and Jack do this evening. They're obviously the top 2 in the championship. Martin Diver and Smokey J's are not here tonight, and there's a massive opportunity for those 3, Chiapelli, Jack Pearson and Mike Noon, to really gain ground at the top of the championship. Although you'd have to say Jack has his work cut out on the back of the second row. Mike is in a great position though on the front of the grid.
Jack does like
the
to
rundown. Yes, indeed. The rundown to turn one will be very crucial, and in Monza, there's always the opportunity of a big accident and some major drama.
Very quickly, Paul Mears. Hopefully, John doesn't mourn too much as we head to lights out. Any moment now, lights out ammo underway here in Monza. Mike Newton gets a great start. He starts to pull across to Solanix to cover the inside. He's got a great start. There's a battle behind between Jack Pearson and Dom Smith vying for 3rd place. Luca looking to try to get his nose in as we see. I think everyone is a bit of front wing falling at the back there.
Just about clear.
A little bit of bumping and boring. Someone does have damage front wing. I couldn't see who that was though, unfortunately, as Jacko comes out through the back of the field. There's a couple of guys on the soft tyres. Go back to the front, so Mike, really perfect start. 3 abreast going into the second chicane. Dom Smith up into 3rd place. There's contact in the background. Who's that? Chris Johnson is racing the wrong way. Oh, disaster for Chris Johnson.
Track. Chris Johnson's got damage. Chiapelli lucky not to have any, but
disaster. Luca in front of his home fans in Italy. He's got his work cut out. Chris Johnson at the back as well.
I believe Jack Pearson has dropped down the order as well, down to P7, so he's had a bad start. He did come to contact with Chiapelli. Bazza was up to 4th, but has damage, and there's a car off. I believe that's...
is in the wall, and there's a Mercedes as well. Dom Smith has also spun as well. This has been a hectic start to this race. Oh, disaster.
Dom went in, I think, on his own there, at the exit of Ascari. Looked like he got it snapped around on him, and off in the wall he went.
Meanwhile, Mike Noon, 3 seconds in front, is buggering off. he's absolutely scarpering, and rightly so. That is the exact place he wanted to be. Pole position, and the start definitely worked out for Mike Noon. Weiss, goodness me, if his day couldn't get any worse, a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. I'm presuming got 3 people in the pits, Chris Johnson, Weiss and Dom Smith. They should be going to the medium tyres to take them all the way to the end.
The soft tyres for Dom Smith, a front wing change as well, so definitely damage in the contact of the ball. Same for Chris Johnson, and Weiss is on the medium tyre.
Well, he started on the softs, so there was no way he's going to take super softs to the end of the race. So, Joe Sayer Solanix almost binned it coming out the second levels, as does Jack Pearson chasing Joe Sayer. So Joe Sayer, out of all of that, despite his poor qualifying, kept his nose clean and is up into 3rd place, holding the last spot on the podium. Jack Pearson behind him. Will there be some dodgy team orders? We know Joe Sayer is a bitch when it comes to being the second team member there. So Jack Pearson in 3rd, and Jack Pearson is chasing the title, so it could be on the radio. asking for Joe to move forward. Does Jack Pearson have damage on his front wing now? As Mike says, the fastest lap of the race.
He's okay. It's worth pointing out, if Jack is past Joe and takes third in this race, he will be less than 10 points off the top of the championship. And with a freebie race in Singapore, technically, as Martin will not be there, he will be stuck on 177 regardless of what happens tonight.
I think
Meanwhile,
FCB James ran into the back of Mr. John and has a bit of front wing damage in the Red Bull. Bazza has a corner cut penalty behind. Luca is back up to 8th despite the dramas, with Red Bull Kim just behind him in 9th. So Luca, mostly through people pitting and spinning again at the Ascari chicane, has caught his way back up to 8th. He'll probably be looking to get James and Jacko. That'll be his target. There's a yellow flag in sector 2.
Red Bull came into the gravel trap up the second chicane. Down to 10th he goes. Jacko, I spotted in the Mercedes, also has a time penalty for caught in the first chicane. He's having to move FCB James here.
He is. They're side by side going into the Ascari chicane. A little bit of contact there. They're rubbing on each other. Still side by side, but Jacko manages to get through up into P6.
I do believe he might have been the one to get the wing damage down at turn 1 on lap 1, because I'm pretty sure the left-hand side of the wing is damaged. I was wondering if that was just a reason for him look like running wide.
A little bit of damage. Going back to the battle for second now, Josie is less than a tenth behind Solanis. He'll have DRS as we go into turn 1. He's got the inside line. This should be, as long as he nails the braking point, an easy overtake for Josie. Yes, it is. Lovely move by Josie. Solanis hopping over the curb. He'll be under threat now from Jack Pearson, who will he get the run down into the second chicane? He'll be looking to set him up. Don't do a Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel boys around here. Keep it nice and clean as they do. Jack Pearson looking inside, outside. Solanis does defend it slightly better than he did at turn 1. Bit wide there, Jack hopping over the curb. Such a corner cut in there maybe, but the game lets him get away with it. So Jack Pearson up into third place, so Force India 2 and 3 respectively. They will need to sort themselves out though, because they're only that close. They've both been on super soft tyres coming to the pit stops. One of them will have to pit in first. At the moment, you'd say Joe Sayer being the lead driver. Jack Pearson and Solanis both having DRS, but no gains there.
Just worth pointing out, during that battle, Petty came into the pit lane and unfortunately for him sped and got a time penalty, and Red Bull Kin has had a pit stop for damage. He's down at the back of the field, quite a way off to P12 now.
Thank you very much. So we'll go back to the front. Dom Smith has retired.
Dom Smith is in the wall, and Wace is in the wall too.
Oh, good grief. Will that bring out a safety car?
I wondered if there was contact.
Jack Pearson and Solanis are both pitted. If there's a safety car, this is the perfect opportunity to pit. Doesn't look like there is though, but it can come out later on. So
Jacko has a penalty for speeding.
Jacko also in the pits, but people once it's very tricky to actually brake for the speed limit. I've done it plenty of times myself in this game. It's so tricky. So Jack Pearson and Solanis now leaving the pits.
Mike in the gravel. Mike no spun.
Oh my god, has spun! He's bottled a 5-second lead! Can you believe it? Joe Sayer leads! Joe Sayer, after I called him a bitch earlier, is leading this race!
It was just a completely unforced error by the Renault there. He's just gone in deep into the section chicane, caught the gravel on the way out, and around it went.
He did the same thing in Belgium. He just lost the car. I don't know if whether it's in his setup or something, but his car seems to be, it gets very loose towards the end of a tyre stint, and he struggles to keep it. So I'm presuming he'll be definitely pitting in at the end of this lap. But Joe Sayer, he can't believe he's lucky. He's now leading this race. With Jack Pearson now pitting the lap before, will Jack get the undercut, and will Force India now use team tactics for a 1-2
here? That was exactly what I was just about to mention. Jack on a clear piece of tarmac on his own. He could set a really quick time on the lap on new tyres and jump up, possibly into the lead. For now though, Mr. John stays out in the McLaren and has taken P1, while Wace's race is getting from bad to worse. He's pitted again, had another penalty, and will come out just ahead of the Ferrari of Bazza, actually just behind.
I'm going to stick with Joe Sayer. Mr. John has taken the lead, he hasn't pitted yet. Joe comes out the pit. Jack Pearson down the straight. Jack Pearson now will take provisionally the lead of the race once everyone does their pit up, so that undercut definitely work for Jack Pearson. He can't believe he's looked at Mike Newman. He's behind Jose, so potentially this could be a Force India 1-2, which would be perfect for them. But I am going to say this once again, Jose did play the
I think
bitch.
something happened to Sir Lannick, sorry. He's just coming to the pit lane with no front wing. He's down in P10.
Oh dear,
he's
yes.
Soft tyres. I think he's had an accident.
He did. He pitted the same time as Jack Pearson, so that's a disaster for Sir Lannick there. Mike Newman,
Mike Newman.
I think nobody's not got a penalty in this race except Jack Pearson and Jose, I believe. Chris Johnson is right behind Jacko for P8 and P9 currently. So at the moment, the lead of the race is Mr. John, but he has not pitted yet. James in second, Baz in third. The top three have not pitted yet. Well, AFCB James is on the soft tyre, so maybe he'll start to close in the second half of the race. Mr. John is in the pit, side by side here with Chris Johnson and Jacko as we come into the Ascari chicane, coming onto the bridge. Very tight there. Chris Johnson seems to back out of it there. He didn't want to get involved too heavily. I don't know if it was a yellow flag or if it was just my eyesight deceiving me there. Baza also in the pits this lap. We've got a great helicopter shot of Chris Johnson coming down.
Mr. John comes out. Something must have happened to Mike. He's lost a lot of time, or Jack has really just gone for it. Because
no, Mike and Joe
Joe and Mike are miles back.
Yeah. So Mike and Joe have.
Joe and Mike, yes.
Had an altercation, and Jack Pearson has a monumental lead. I'm not going to say that because he almost bottled it last week.
Jumped in the gap.
And Mr. John, he has. That's incredible. So Mr. John is in a net second place.
Fortunately, we did miss that there. But...
well, we apologise for that. I was looking at Chris Johnson side by side with Jacko.
It's worth keeping an eye on AFCB James on the last few laps. Obviously starting with a soft tyre, in the lead at the moment, yet to pit. He'll sure to be on super softs. And with the gap opening up, 23 seconds between P1 and P6, that's about a pit stop. So he'd be right on the back of that train for third, which would be a net second, as Mike just passes Mr. John for P2.
He doesn't pit in this lap. Maybe a mistake by not pitting in this lap. I would have thought he'd have as long as you could on the super soft to try and close the gap. However, I'm not the one driving, so Jack Pearson will be your net leader of the race once James pits. Mike Noon has got ahead of Mr. John into third place. I was going to say, how many in this party? It's private.
I thought we were going to have some words with Dom, ask what happened as he has unfortunately been the only retirement so far. But...
Mike Noon up to third place, Mr. John down to fourth, and Joe Sayer in fifth. Does Joe have front wing damage? I believe he does. That may explain a little bit of what happened between him and Mike Noon. Luca is up into sixth place, so his comeback drive is well and truly on the march yet again for the third race in a row I've been commentating on. He could get Joe Sayer if Joe does have, I believe, front wing damage, so that'll be his next target for Luca. Bazza in seventh, Jacko in eighth, not too far behind on the medium tyre. Chris Johnson has dropped away from Jacko by a fair bit. Does he have front wing damage? I couldn't quite see there. Solanix in 10th, he's pitted twice, unfortunately. Red Bull Kim still going in 11th, and Weiss well down, about to be lapped, in fact, in 12th place. No, in fact, he is lapped, but James now coming into the pits for presumably super soft tyres. Red Bull team about to get to go. So Jack Pearson will now take the lead of the race. Weiss again needs in the pit lane. Oh, dear me.
You know when it's not your day. It looks like, I think they might be changing the front wing there on the Red Bull, which is a bit of a disaster if that's the case. I believe it was.
Oh no, that's going to cost him a bit of time. So Luca goes up to fifth place. He should still
There's
come
a
out
battle
ahead.
here for seventh.
Well, there is between
Bazza
and Jacko as they go side by side with. Oh my goodness me!
Briefly free abreast.
A Mercedes, a Red Bull, and a Ferrari all side by side. We would love to see that this season. Bouncing over the curves. There goes Bazza as Jacko does take P6, but James now on the super soft side forces him onto the grass as we come through. I forget that name of the corner. I was going to call it Aqua Minerale, but that's probably completely wrong.
We got a yellow flag in sector 3.
Well,
there's no one in sector 3.
Is it Red Bull Kim? Potentially. Going back to the battle though, so FCB James on brand new super soft tyres, almost hitting the back of Jacko, but he does need to take advantage of this straight away. He can't be messing about too much behind Jacko. I believe he could catch Luca if he gets on with it, but he's got to make the move now. He's got to set him up as we come out of the Ascari chicane, going onto the back straight as we head to the Parabolica. He's not close enough though, so maybe they have to try and set him up going into the first chicane. And on the back of them, Chris Johnson now starting to come back, although they have been battling, so maybe that has helped. It looks like in second 2, Basil was running wide there.
It's Red Bull came off again, not the first Lesmo in sector 2. Just going to point out, Mike Moon gained 6/10 on Jack Pearson in the last lap as Chris Johnson and Basil are side by side down towards turn 1, and I think also the Red Bull Mercedes just in front are side by side too.
They are still side by side as Basil goes off in the background there in the Ferrari. FCB James and Jacko still side by side. This is Alonso and Vettel once again. Mercedes driver he does get the line, so he's going to defend the inside line as James. He does, like I said, he does need to get on with it. He's still stuck behind the Mercedes. That'll seriously be frustrating for him. Chris Johnson has got ahead of Baza as Baza was clambering all over the first chicane there. Now, is it me, or has Jack Pearson bottled another huge lead?
He has just lost a lot of time. He's run deep into Ascari. He was very nervous. I almost looked like he was about to drop the car, and he's just lost a whole second in that sector alone. Might move now within 4 seconds with 4 laps to go, just about to go to 3 laps to go as AFCB James and Jacko, they're battling
once
on.
Again, and the Red Bull has got him, although Jacko now, Jacko will not give that up, that is for sure. The side said they touched on the straight! Boys, behave, this is not how it's supposed to work. Baz has dropped well back in the background. The Red Bull down the inside, he should have the superior grip, he does force him a little bit wide. Jacko, probably lack of grip as well as all the tyres, but now James has got that move done. He will not get DRS, or he does get DRS, so that should definitely help his cause as he heads to turn 1. So James should now pull Scott Clear away from Jacko as Chris Johnson closes in the background. Maybe through between back. Baza is in the pit, so I wonder if he had front wing damage. So Alex will move up to 9th.
Yes, definite front wing damage for Baza. The front wing was in pretty much ripped to pieces as he came into the pit lane. Meanwhile, Waste has spun on the exit of Ascari and crashed out of the Grand Prix. A nightmare Italian Grand Prix has come to an end early for him.
Currently right on board
the gap
with
between Jack and Mike is now 3.2.
Keep an eye on that gap as it's getting closer and closer. Mike hunting down Jack Pearson. Jack Pearson about to bottle another lead, potentially?
Oh, Jack comes off. I apologise for cutting in. Jacko has just spun up the exit of the second Lesmo. He's dropped down to P8 behind Chris Johnson. And that is the end of that battle with him and James in the Red Bull.
Mike knew fastest lap of the race. That is exactly what he needs to do if he is to hunt Jack Pearson. The gap is less than 3 seconds as they came across the line. Oh, nail-biting finish. If Mike can get within a DRS on the last lap, he definitely has a chance. Mr. John in 3rd place, but under pressure now from Josiah. So we will watch this battle as it is the closest battle on circuit for the time being. Can Josiah? He has been in the podium spot. He should have been nailed on for a podium, but something happened between him and Mike. Now looking to get back into the podium spot for the Force India team.
I think Mike just ran a little deep again at the second chicane, lost a little bit of time. Jack is just over 3 seconds clear, but there is a lapped car in front of Red Bull Kim. Could that throw a spanner in the works potentially?
Oh dear. Well, last week, in case you missed it, Jack had a monumental lead in Belgium, and he spun, got major damage to his front wing, and almost lost it to Chris Johnson on the last corner. It was absolutely incredible. I almost missed it because I didn't think Jack could bottle such a lead, but this is Jack Pearson, so I'm not going to not look away from it. 3.5 seconds, that could literally be down to 0 by the time we come across the line, knowing Jack Pearson. Jose still struggling to stay with Mr. John. I do believe he does have front wing damage, so that could be the cause of that. So Mr. John, he just needs to do what he has been doing and should secure 3rd place as we start the final lap of the race. The gap between Jack Pearson and Mike Noon is 3.2 seconds currently. Jack Pearson has cleared Red Bull Kim as well, so that threat is nulled. Having said that though, does Mike have a penalty? He does, and Jack doesn't. So unless Jack gets a penalty, and Mike's sliding all over the place, so race victory should be Jack Pearson's.
Yeah, I think Mike has burnt the tyres up.
Yeah,
the gap's
and
up
Joe has got into third place
on the last lap.
But they're about to head into the DRS zone, and Mr. John, right behind, will have DRS, but he's messed it up completely in the wall! Oh dear, Mr. John has absolutely binned it into the wall. Luca is up to 4th. Can he get back on? James, he's still not.
You know what? Mike has just had a moment. He's got another penalty. There's a chance here. Joe Kite's still second on penalties.
He has. Mike Noon's bottled second place. I believe. I'm sure it's 6 seconds. I don't believe
6 seconds.
So Jack Pearson comes across line 2 win. Mike New will come across line in second place provisionally.
It's going to be very close.
Jose needs to keep that pinned. He could get second place. He's done it. To Force India 1-2. Luca, the comeback drive, has come to 4th. Fair play to Luca on that one. James, an unexpected 5th. He was nowhere near that. Chris Johnson 6th. Mr. John, what a terrible last lap.
Heavy damage on the last lap.
Bun coming out the second last one, trying to get the power onto Jose. Comes across the line in 7th. Jacko in 8th place. Solanix, unfortunately, with 2 pit stops, has had to kind of mope around in 9th place. He's weaving across the line, showing up to the fans, damaging his front wing. Toro Rosso will not be happy with that, having to repair that. And Bazza, I believe he's also had to make 2 pit stops. Yes, he did. He'll be the last of the finishers as Red Bull Kim has been a lap down. Bazza will come across the line in 10th place and Red Bull Kim in 11th. Well,
this result has had massive complications for the championship. That win for Jack Pearson has put him top of the TGP2 championship standings by a single point over Martin Diver. Solanix is, I believe, just holding on to 3rd place ahead of Luca Chiapelli, but it is very close between Smokey J, Solanix, Luca Chiapelli and Mike Noon in the battle for 3rd. But we do have a new championship leader after victory in Monza. His name is Jack Pearson, and he will be looking to increase his lead at the next Grand Prix, knowing full well Martin Diver is not going to take part.
In Singapore, which you'll see very soon after this little break. So, a rundown of the race results here. Jack Pearson, the race winner. Jose in 2nd place after Mike Noon having 2 penalties. He picked up that 2nd penalty on the last lap. Maybe should have been a bit more cautious. So a Force Indy 1-2, Mike Noon in 3rd. Luca, a little comeback drive there to get 4th. James in the Red Bull in 5th. Chris Johnson in 6th. Mr. John 7th. Jacko 8th. Solanix 9th. Bazza 10th. Red Bull Kim in 11th. And Waste and Don Smith did not finish the race in 12th and 13th respectively. We will be in Singapore next in the next couple of minutes. Don't go away. I stupidly forgot to press X. God damn it.
Well, they did it out.
Oh, so already before the session has started, James has left. Hopefully he can get back in.
There were invites being sent out. Hopefully. Don't know if we can do it as spectators. No, it doesn't look like we can. That's a shame. I was hoping there we could, invite people that were in the session getting back in. And it looks like the session has begun and cars are now heading out the pit. And it'll be Mike Noon first out, followed closely by Joe Sayer.
Luca not doing what he does in TGP cars and coming out first just to get pole position. He's a bit of a fraud, that man.
A TGP2 race winner though.
This is very true.
I'd admit, a very lucky win, but you still had to drive the race after the top 5 on the grid in their excitement for the new TGP2 season decided to jump at the start together in almost like some kind of pact. Couldn't script it really. Yes, Singapore, this should be a very fun race. Very challenging, very easy to get it wrong and end it in a wall.
Oh, I will bet you Dom Smith's £5 note that he still hasn't given me yet that there will be about 7 finishes of this race.
I'm not a betting man, but that sounds like a good call.
Of course, you will not receive payment of that £5 note because Dom Smith has literally ordered me it for over a year.
Meanwhile, Mike is he's actually hit the wall on his outlap.
Oh dear. Mike, where is he?
He's just recovered and done a burnout right in front of Joe.
Trying to scare Joe. So, has Mike got damage? He must have.
No, it was a very, very slow impact with the wall. It was just casually, slowly going down the straight, hit the brakes, and where they were cold, he's just got straight on. And as he tried to turn in to avoid the wall, he just clipped it. But I think his car's okay. It looks like he's going to stay out and start his qualifying run.
And so he is. Runs a little bit away. Mike, what is a helmet? Goodness me. It's worse than John Luke Taylor's from... No, he's sliding and coming out of the turn 3, as it is in Singapore. I always like to call it turn 1, though. DRS to open as we look from the rearward view on the Renault there. Singapore, the first F1 night race, the original one. I quite like it as a night race. I don't think they should change that.
I would argue it is the true night race as Bahrain and Abu Dhabi start in the early evening to transition into night, while Singapore is just dead of night.
Out of them 3 tracks as well in terms of like floodlit races, let's call them.
Yes, definitely.
I prefer this one. It just has a bit more spectacle about it.
Yes, definitely, and always capable of providing drama. 2008, Massa with his fuel rig being stuck to his car after the infamous PK crash up PK corner, 10-17.
Good for coming out now. Does Mike do a PK? No, he doesn't. He's in the Renault though. He's in the right team. He does hit the wall though, so well done, Mike. You fulfilled the PK.
Halfway there. I don't believe he has a teammate here tonight, so might be doing the team a favour if he puts that one in the wall there.
No, he won't. But as he comes around the last corner, he will be the first across line to set a lap time 1:38.961. Currently, the benchmark set. Joe Sayer 1:40.575 comes across line. He is the second.
Chip heading next across the line. Then he's off the pace there with 1:41.9. Not fully representative, I feel. He's also got damage, so he's had a bit of a adventure on his first qualifying run. As Chris Johnson takes
41, and he also does have damage as well. Dom Smith also for 1:41. There's a bit of damage as well.
Waze goes second, which is all the more impressive considering he also has hit the wall on his lap.
Oh my goodness!
That shows just how difficult it is here in Singapore to get it right. and keep it out the barrier.
With Singapore being such a long lap though, we do expect these gaps to be bigger in qualifying, but when it comes to the racing it tends to close up a bit as people start battling, being a little bit more cautious and not wanting to hit the wall over a number of laps. So we go from the shortest race in Monza to the longest in Singapore.
As Jack Pearson now comes across the line, takes P3. No damage on him, just a slow lap. Mike currently on pole by a second and a half, as Red Bull Kim has just come back on track from a little adventure at the start of Sector 3.
Jack was drifting coming out of the first sequence of corners there. Jack Pearson, your odds-on favourite for pole position, according to Bet Noon. As you were saying, John, sorry?
Yes, Mike looked like he just ran wide in Sector 3, and Wace just had a spin at the end of Sector 1. Doesn't look like anyone's on a particularly fast lap right now. It looks like Jack is still pushing and is improved as Sector 1, almost sideways out of one of the corners. As Joe pits in the Force Indias, both separated by just half a tenth, and a surprise runner appears.
Mike Noon, interesting. in a rush to get back into the pits.
It's not the first time he's done that. There was one time Suzuka he's done that against me and ended up in the barrier.
I remember that, yes. Mike Noon,
much to my astonishment and surprise.
Mike Noon wanted to be the first one in a hole.
First one in, first one will happen. I think just about the first one in the pits too. Very close between P2, P3 and P4, less than a tenth, although you'd have to say none of those times are truly representative compared to the poles that
we believe there will be.
As Wace has just hit the wall on the inside coming into the pits. So unusual way out. As Jack has just spun out of
what are they doing?
21, I believe that is. The second last corner.
So there is only Bazza out on circuit at the moment. Oh, Mr. John is on the out lap.
And I believe Baz is on his way in as well.
Yes.
Drivers have been warned to respect the pit entrance and pit exit. They can't cross over the curb on the way in, and they can't cut across on the way out. Obviously in the race there'll be a penalty, but in qualifying it just give you a warning on the exit. As I believe it was Nico Rosberg who found out to his disadvantage one year in the race where he just crossed the line and his Williams got a penalty that cost him a possible shot at a first race victory.
Yes. Rosberg, probably a better driver in his Williams days actually, in my opinion. As we're looking at Solanix now, coming under the bridge, under the fans there. Now it's coming out of the Marina Bay section actually. Now it comes out into the final corner to, I believe, start his lap. I may be proven wrong here. No, he's finished like 1:39.6. So someone within a second finally of Mike Noon. He will not have time, I don't think, to get back in the pits and get back out again. So that will be his
3 minutes 20.
Done.
Very close. I think he will run out of time. So he's either on one more lap now, or his session's done. It looks like his session's done. He's backed off. He won't get round in time.
Did James get back into the lobby?
I have not seen him leave the pits. I believe he has not. Which is good news for everyone with the Jose point system, as that means everyone's a point scorer this race.
The Jose point system. Get the Jose point system out of TGP, please. We don't need it.
Make TGP great again.
Yes, use the hashtag.
Well, the TGP point system great again. As Mike begins a lap now, the current pole man. Most cars are on out laps, it looks like.
We will now follow Mike around the lap. Not a bad opening couple of corners there. Now it needs a good run to get onto the straight. Wasn't too bad, maybe a little bit of sideways action. Opens the DRS. Flat out now. Pick your braking point. This is a crucial corner. You could so easily get it completely wrong. Mike's got it wrong. Ran very wide there. He'll still go on this lap.
Just meanwhile, Mr. John has just done his first lap of the session, has gone P6, just behind Josiah, and narrowly ahead of Azza, who's still in the pit lane. It looks like he will not be doing another lap this session.
No.
Most cars are now on that track. It looks like Sir Alex is actually doing one more lap. He's done a hot, cold, hot tactic there. Let the tyres cool down, look after the car, and then get going again. As yellow flags are out in sector 2.
Yes, he has. So Slanix is on a lap. So them tyres, they won't be very good for the race. He'll only probably do about 3 laps and he'll have to pit.
The tyre wear is pretty low in Singapore, going by previous experience. Although it's not the best scenario for him. But he is on the front row for now.
Get my name right from Loud Aspire. That's the YouTube channel. Where we are, please let me know. I will try and get your name right. Mike Noon goes slightly quicker.
Yes, fractionally. I believe that was only a couple of hundredths quicker.
It could only be a couple of hundredths quicker, yes. There was not a lot in it.
Yes.
But a 138.934 or 0.933, I believe the bottom of the screen. There was 2 separate times that come up on. So that's in the wall.
Looks like he's found. It looked like for Mike, he found the time, the last sector. Oh yes, definitely in the wall there. That's one way of getting a new set of tyres for the race. Although I would say that wasn't on purpose.
I was watching it live.
Joe now takes P2.
It does, 139.6. So finally someone joins Solanix and getting a little bit closer. Jack Pearson is one to watch. He is the Bet-Noon favourite for pole position. So we'll keep an eye on him as he comes into the final sector here, coming under the bridge. Doesn't get the wall a tap. I thought he was running wide there.
He's going to be first across the line as well.
He will be one of the first people to come across the line as he flings it now into the last corner. What can he do? He goes second. Very close.
Half a tenth in it. Or so just over half a tenth. As Wace takes P3 as well. By 4 thousandths.
Oh, Wace, yes.
And Joe has just opened the session, so Lanix done. Jacko has called it a day. We're on board with Dom here.
Dom Smith, he is on a lap.
It's just cars lifted everywhere. Looks like just Dom, Giapelli and Red Bull Kim left.
Where's Luca? Luca's
just at
coming down to the final corner, so we'll follow him as he comes across the line. What position can Luca get? He moves up to 6th place. He jumps to P6. And now we'll go back to Don Smith. Not a bit of corner cutting there from the man who owes me £5 as he comes into PK corner. We'll let him off though. He is a TGP1 winner after all. A recent TGP1 winner at that.
I'd rather not talk about that one. I feel this carriage of justice occurred that day as Red Bull Kim comes across the line, learning the circuit by the looks of it, 157.8.
I believe Don Smith took 6th place off Luca there on his final run. He did. So a rundown of your qualifying order here in Singapore. Mike Noon takes pole position yet again. It's a double pole for him tonight. Jack Pearson very close second. Wace in 3rd place. Joining him on the 2nd row will be Josiah. Solanix in 5th. Dom Smith stealing that 6th place there from Luca in 7th. Jacko in 8th. Mr. John 9th. Baza in 10th. Chris Johnson very disappointing with 11th place. Red Bull Kim in 12th. Apparently Max Verstappen in 13th, but that would be James, and I don't think he did make it back into this session. So we'll have 12 runners in tonight's Singapore Grand Prix. Next time I will press X. As the snow continues to fall outside my house. So we will be underway very shortly here in Singapore, the true night race of F1. So here are 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And lights out, and away we go. And Mike Noon yet again gets a good start, comes straight across in front of Jack Pearson as we head into turn 1. Jose dives down the inside of Waste, and there was a bit of contact there. He gets away with it. Waste now diving down the inside of Jack Pearson to steal second place. As does the field make it through turn 1? The first corners quickly. Yes, they do. Mike Noon
got away.
Mike Noon in the lead. He's still in the pressure though from Jack Pearson. Jack Pearson has not letting him get away this time as he did in Monza. Waste right behind Jack Pearson. Look at still a bit of slipstream, not going to make any moves. Solanix up to 4th, Luca in 5th there as Jose has dropped behind Dom Smith with an audacious move into turn 1, almost hitting the back of Dom Smith there as well, as Jacko had a sneaky look down the inside of him as we come now to the halfway stage. Oh, lots, bit of front wing damage there, bouncing across the circuit. I don't know whose that was. Jack Pearson is still very close behind Mike Noon there as Wace and Solanix get very close.
Wace, who's got front wing damage all over the back of Jack Pearson. There's just a little bit of damage.
Pushed him a little bit as well. That was a little bit naughty from Wace. So he definitely had front wing damage, but he did push him. So the side by side as we come now. There's no corner names there. I don't know what turn it was in. Turn 19, I think. Jack very close to pushing him in the wall. This is now allowing Mike Noon to yet again escape. These boys keep doing this every time. Oh, Mike Noon is a bottle job. Solanix and Luca were side by side, almost in the wall, coming out of Pico corner there.
Yellow flags are out for Bazza, not Bazza, sorry, Red Bull came at the back of the field. He's gone off on the Sauber. He has continued undamaged.
So Red Bull came.
It's a big slate for Jack Pearson.
Yet again, Mike Noon comes across the line with a huge lead yet again, but mainly thanks to Wace and Jack Pearson battling. So a 1.7 second lead for Mike Noon as he comes across the line. Jack Pearson second, Wace third, Solanix up to 4th place as we said earlier. Luca in 5th was challenging, Dom Smith 6th and Josiah in 7th place. These two have plenty of battles throughout the TGP2, and here we are again. Josiah looking for the outside, Dom Smith defending. That will compromise his run coming onto the straight. Josiah now, as he comes side by side, Josiah will have the momentum and the speed as they head into turn 7, I believe this is. There's so many corners on this circuit. I don't know. Dom Smith now. Will he defend down the inside? They're still side by side. Josiah looks like he's got a lovely move by Josiah. Put Dom under pressure, and Dom became the bitch this time. So Josiah making someone else a bitch for the first time. Josiah up to 6th place. Mr. John in 8th with Jacko behind him. So Jacko has lost a place to Mr. John there. Chris Johnson in 10th. He hasn't made any progress really. Bazza left, and as we said before, Red Bull came with a spin down in 12th place.
It's worth pointing out Jack Pearson is kind of stabilised the gap to Mike Noon and has pulled away from Waste. The damage on the hat is clearly going to hinder him for the first stint, as that has allowed Jack to close in just a little bit. He's not quite a DRS of the leader, but he's there and he'll be able to keep up with him throughout the first part of the race.
He will. So Jack Pearson, that's what all he needs to do. There's still no rushes. A long race, remember. This is the longest race on the calendar. Generally in F1 terms it does hit the 2-hour marker without safety cars, but there's always safety cars here. So he can take his time with this. Mike Noon briefly set the fast lap, but controlled by Jack Pearson, who I think took about half a second off him on that lap. He's almost within DRS range. So he just needs to take his time. He doesn't have to rush.
Dom just was that Dom? That is Jacko. Jacko ran wide out the last corner. That's Chris Johnson down the inside into turn 1 to take 9th place.
Both
the training cars behind Dom Smith though.
Yeah, both Mercedes drivers are struggling here. Chris Johnson, do let me point out, is on the super soft tyres, so he'll be he'll definitely have the better grip, because the ultra soft tyres, in my view, wear off incredibly quickly of this circuit. He's just constantly fighting them in the first stint. So Chris Johnson will need to make his move soon. Jacko almost runs in the back and does avoid him though, so no harm done to the front wing there, as the battle for 4th between Solanix, Luca and Josiah maybe want to keep an eye out.
Josiah almost clipping the wall there as he's trying hard to keep up, and
Solanix has clipped the wall. He's sideways, and it's caused Luca to halt as he thought he was going to hit him. He goes through, and Josiah didn't think anything of it, just let the game do its thing and just goes through the pair of them. Luca is now side by side with Solanix. Or did they hit? Because I don't know if
they did definitely hit. Luca went for a move at the inside. It did not pay off. Solanix had the corner. He turned it in. They met in the middle. Round went Solanix into the wall. Luca stuck, locked in, nowhere to go. and Joe reaping the benefits and takes P4.
So Jose up into 4th place, I say, reaping the benefits. He'll be delighted with that. Luca, going to be a bit more patient. Remember, it's a long race, this. The one just started lap 4. Mike Newman has extended that gap out in front, though. Maybe Jack experienced a bit of dirt, yeah. Or his tyres are starting to fade.
There's been contact at the back of the field. Bazza and Jacko, both without front wings, both coming into the pits. I think they collided just behind the train that is now for 5th position.
I've got a great shot here of Mr. John's rear wing as we look at the train. There was only Chris Johnson behind him. So the train does consist of Solanix, Luca, Dom Smith, Mr. John and Chris Johnson. Goes from 5th to 9th place. A DRS train effectively. Dom Smith has gone defensive. Lucas, I think, has clipped Solanix. Mr. John around the outside of Dom Smith. A very audacious move. He does make the inside line. A little bit of a track extending there, but this is TGP2 who kind of allow it. Give them the benefit of the doubt. The game does allow it as well. If the game didn't allow it, people wouldn't use it. So Mr. John, with Valentino Rossi's number 46, moving ahead of Dom Smith. Dom Smith still struggling in the Mercedes there in this first stint.
I think if you were Dom, you'd probably think about making an early start, get off those ultra softs, get back on the super softs. Indeed. They do last a very long time here. They do give decent grip for longer, and it'd be out the train in some fresh air as well.
Indeed.
Although that said, Red Bull Kim currently is about 24 seconds behind Dom, and that is pretty much a pit stop here. So it'll be very close. You've got a yellow flag out. It looks like there's been an incident with Wace. He's lost his front wing, and Jose is back onto the podium positions.
Now in the podium, so Wace will now having to pit. He will put on, hopefully, the super soft tyres.
Oh, he skidded over the pit there, but he did go in the proper way.
Yeah, I don't think that was by choice, really. He had no choice of that.
You know what? There's damage for Solanix. He's just dropping down there, down to 7th.
He was, yes. He's got major damage to his front wing, and he's got to do a whole lap as well. Disaster. Ideally, he should let his teammate go.
Alternate strategy as well. Chris Johnson is going to be out for a lot longer than everyone around him. But crucially, I guess, for Dom and for some of the guys in the train, where wasteful compared to Red Bull Kim. Waste's actually hit the wall coming out the pit lane. He's actually damaged the wing again. So
no, disaster! He just comes out in front of Red Bull Kim as well.
Just ahead. So very crucial for the guys in that middle of the field. Well, I say middle of the field.
Luca, Mr. John, Dom Smith, and Chris Johnson. Potential 4th place could be on hands here, as Mike Noon is extending that gap out in front to Jack Pearson. So Jack, we thought, had the pace, but it looks like Mike Noon's just put the hammer down. He's extending that gap. So can Mike Noon, for once, keep it on the island this time without spinning, and take a race victory? He desperately needs it for any chance of the title. I don't know if he does have a chance. Jack Pearson will want to consolidate his new lead in the championship as Mike Noon pits in. Does Jack Pearson follow? He does.
We have a retirement. It's Red Bull Kim. He's crashed on the bridge in Sector 2. That could potentially be a safety car, because that's just blocking the track.
Has he done a Marcus Ericsson? He pretty much has,
yes,
as well.
In the same car too.
Jacko and Bazza are still renewing their battle despite being way at the back of the field. Bazza almost ran into the wall there. So Mike
Noon leaders pit together. They've come out
and Jack Pearson. They're going to come out into clear air. I thought they might come out with this train that is still going on. So Luca, Mr. John, Dom Smith, and Chris Johnson still fighting. Bazza with it looks like a time penalty for multiple corner cuts.
I'm just wondering if there's a potential for a safety car here, as Jacko has just let Bazza through. They're both right on edge of their cars.
Car now, Josiah will be laughing to the bank.
As Solanix comes out the pit lane in 9th place, front wing repaired, a lot of time lost.
He's down Waster, who does have front wing damage. It looks like major front wing damage as well. So Solanix not the woods yet for some decent points. Although he's got an awful lot of work to catch the train he was with, which is as we're looking out now from the fantastic helicopter shot. Chris Johnson in 5th place, Tom Smith in 4th, Mr. John 3rd, and Luca in 2nd place currently. Mike Noon and Jack Pearson have both pitted in. Jack Pearson looks as though he net gained out of that pit stop there. Gained about half a second.
Fractionally closed in there, yes. Looks about half a second indeed. Obviously the train of cars still going. We've got to get it flag, and Waste has binned it.
Coming
just
again into the...
just before the bridge where
Red Bull Kim
as well.
Binned it as well. Still no sign
that
of
is
the
right in the middle of the track, right on the apex. So,
Jose into the pits. Safety car still not been deployed.
Astonished there's no safety car there, to be honest. The one laughing now, if it was to come out, you'd argue would be the top 3 who have yet to pit, and Chris Johnson too.
The
top 4.
The top 4 who are in this fantastic battle as Mega Train still haven't pitted yet. Virtual safety car.
And it's a virtual safety car.
Oh, that does...
That really does help Joe, who can come out the pit lane pretty quickly and then slow down to the delta.
It has helped Joe a little bit.
But not a lot.
He needed that as he was serving his pit stop. That would have helped massively whilst he was serving his pit stop. So the virtual safety car not really helping anyone there. It's kind of neutralised the race in a really bizarre place as Mr. John gets very close to Luca.
The virtual safety car has done its job. It's neutralised the field with no one really gaining any advantage.
Virtual safety car has ended, so we're back underway. So your new race leader currently is Luca Chiapelli, followed by Mr. John, Don Smith and Chris Johnson. These 4 have been locked in battle for most of the race, providing the entertainment for the race so far. Mike Noon in 5th place, but he has pitted. He is currently 2 seconds ahead of Jack Pearson and Jose in 7th place.
Joe has actually halved the deficit to Mike under that virtual safety car. It was 8 seconds for the stop. It's now just under 5.
He has. So that virtual safety did help Joe. It didn't really benefit anyone really, but it benefited Joe the most. As Luca stays out. So does Mr. John. Don Smith is pitting. Chris Johnson staying out. To be fair, that is Chris Johnson's strategy. He is on the super soft tyres. So Don Smith maybe should have pitted in earlier, but he stuck to the plan. He actually did hang on to the pack, so maybe he's just struggling in dirty air. But he's pitted now. He's on the super soft tyres. A good stop by the Mercedes boys. He should get out in front of Solanix and in clean air. So Don Smith will be in 7th place. Needs to get the hammer down now. He could jump that whole pack, who have not pitted yet. So currently your race leader is Luca Chiapelli, Mr. John in 2nd and Chris Johnson. Maybe these guys are just hoping for a safety car. That's why maybe they stayed out, because this is beyond the half race distance on ultra soft tyres. They cannot be in any fit shape, these ultra soft tyres, as Chris Johnson and Mr. John are getting closer and starting a little battle which will help Dom Smith jump these 2, definitely. So as we come across the Anderson Bridge, your top 3, Jacko with a corner penalty. Jacko and Bazza are still locked in battle for 9th and 10th. Jacko, I believe, has had to let him through.
I don't know if it's just happened, but it must have damaged the front wing of the McLaren of Mr. John in P2. Chris Johnson now all over the back of him, and Mike Noon has pretty much caught the lead in trio.
Mr. John in the wall! Oh, he's probably binned it. He went straight on. He missed his braking point. Maybe it's just tyre wear. He's just run out of tyres. He's straight into the wall. He's got huge damage to his front wing. Now that may promote Solanix. Mike Noon with the fastest lap of the race. Lucas stayed out, as has Chris Johnson.
That understandable. Chris Johnson very intrigued with Chiapelli. He must be gathering the safety car at this point.
As Mike Noon now comes up to Chris Johnson. They are racing. Oh, it should be easy pickings for Mike Noon. He does have DRS. He does have the fresher tyres. They're about to go side by side. Chris Johnson, I don't know whether he's defending or letting him through. He's letting him through. Don't blame him, to be honest. He's not in that fight. Now will Luca do the same when Mike catches up? Jack Pearson's still struggling to hang on to Mike. I thought Jack Pearson would have been all over
I'd
the
say
back of
Luca
him.
being in the lead, I think he'd give it a bit of a fight. As Mr. John in the pit lane, only coming out now, down at the back of the field in P10.
Wow, Mr. John lost an awful lot of time in that.
He spent a very long time stuck in the wall before he actually got into reverse and got it out of there. As Mike New now alongside Chiapelli, just the superior grip.
Yeah.
Although
Luca is
Chiapelli
defending
coming back
though.
down the inside. Oh,
He's slightly cut the wall. It didn't really help him. That's not helped him at all. Maybe he should have just let Mike go with that. So Mike does take the lead. A little bit of a drama, but he's got 2 cars in between him and Jack Pearson, which will definitely help his cause to extend that lead. Virtual safety car again. This is going to help. Luca and Chris Johnson have got to pit now. And Dom Smith's timing in the pit stop strategy, despite being correct in terms of a race, has been faulted. Joe Sayer
drive-through penalty for
has
Joseph.
a drive-through penalty.
They've stayed out. They've stayed out.
Oh my goodness.
I do not understand the thinking there.
Why? Virtual safety, you just pit in. Surely you just pit in.
A massive tactical blunder by Ferrari and for Toro Rosso there.
That baffles me.
In fact, I'd say it's right up to the back of McNoon there.
It just helps Dom Smith out. They
Yes,
would have,
indeed.
They would have easily had Dom Smith, so Dom Smith still has a chance of P4 here. Or maybe even P3, because Joe Sayer has a
Drive-through penalty,
a
yes.
drive-through penalty.
Which is about 20 seconds. The gap is currently 22.
It's currently 20
That's going to be
seconds.
very close.
So Dom Smith, probably unbeknownst to him at the moment, could be fighting for a podium spot here. As Jack Pearson looks as though he was just having a look there at Chris Johnson.
He just hit the wall.
Who's that?
He clipped the wall. Jack Pearson just clipped the wall there.
Yes.
I think he might be getting a bit frustrated about these 2 cars in front now.
I think
Mike
he is.
pulling
Maybe
away. The gap has gone up to 4.5 seconds. If anything, Joe Sayer's going to catch him for next second. Although, really, it's not a next second.
Chris Johnson not being as kind to Jack Pearson as he was to Mike. He's absolutely defending to the Jack Pearson down the inside, being a bit too aggressive there. Maybe Chris Johnson defends it robustly. Jack Pearson now diving down the inside. He's got to be very careful though. He's getting so frustrated. I can hear him all the way from Haywards Heath now.
He's got to figure the championship here.
He absolutely has. He's getting so frustrated. Luca and Chris Johnson stay out yet again. Why? Jacko has binned it. That may be why.
I think he's parked it.
That could still bring out a safety car though. Joe Sayer is in the pit for his drive-through penalty. We'll keep an eye on this as Dom Smith is now coming around the last couple of corners. Where's Joe Sayer?
It's worth pointing out Solanic's not too far behind Dom as well.
He is. So
This is very close.
It is. Joe Sayer's got to be careful. This is going to be very tight. So Joe Sayer's got to keep to the inside line. Dom Smith, provisionally, I believe, will be in the podium. Solanic's just behind as well. So this could be a fight.
Jack is still behind the Toro Rosso. He's not got past in the DRS because of the Lucas DRS.
So Mike New cruising to a victory. Sorry, I cut in front of you there. Luca's got to be struggling on those tyres. Jack Pearson, you can see the frustration in the drive and stuck behind Chris Johnson as they come across the Anderson Bridge. Jack Pearson now trying to set up for a run on Chris Johnson. Here we go again, side by side. Jack Pearson surely has the better on Chris Johnson. Ducks behind the slipstream. Is he going to go for it again? Jack Pearson.
Jack is defending. He's gone for it.
Chris Johnson,
terrible! That's very stupid. That is
what has he done
poor.
there?
That is a very, very bad move by Chris Johnson there.
Oh, that's terrible driving. I do not condone that at all.
Very poor
It's cost Jack
indeed.
Pearson huge damage to his front wing.
Jack is lucky that the gap to the net P3 is so huge he can limp it home. He's got angry, he's got aggressive. But
Lucas stays out.
Johnson, I don't know what he was doing. He's pitting. I
doesn't
would stay out.
surprise me.
The gap is nearly 20 seconds.
He had heavy damage though to his front wing. He did lose 13 seconds.
Laps. 4 laps, I think.
Ultra soft
You might
tyres.
be right.
He's got to go for it. Mike Noon then.
Gifted a race victory.
Absolutely.
Luke is still going, by the way. 12 laps of the ultra soft tyres.
That's ridiculous.
Jack, he's going to be P6.
So now we will watch
But
the
there is
battle
a
for
battle.
second place between Dom Smith, Jose, and Select. Here they are nose to tail here as Jose looking to set up Dom Smith for the DRS run. Can Dom Smith park it? He doesn't do such a good job there, so Jose should have the run on Dom Smith. But Solanix is going to get involved as well. This is going to get 3 abreast here as we come into the breaks. Virtual safety car called at the wrong moment. I
Incredible.
think Jose gets away with it because he was ahead.
He just took the place as the VAC was called. Mike must be very happy that they've all been VSCs and not safety cars.
Luca will be fuming because he's desperately been wanting a safety car, and they've all been virtual safety cars.
Is it the barrier sticking out on the track?
Is that
where
Chris Johnson
scratched? The barrier is sticking out on the track, and
it's
Luca's car has just hit
It's raining. That is why Luca stayed out. Huge gamble. It has started to rain here in Singapore, so this is not over yet, folks. Mike Noon leads as we start lap 13. This rain could get heavy. Luca, I think, is going to dive in the pits for intermediate tyres. He might as well gamble. Jose nicked 3rd place just before the virtual safety car was deployed. So Dom Smith currently holding off 4th place ahead of Solanix, who's got older tyres, but Dom Smith has been struggling all evening, to be honest, here in Singapore. Will Dom Smith pit? It doesn't look like he is. Luca is coming out on intermediate tyres.
Oh, the message from Ferrari there. Massive gamble to put Luke on the intermediates with so few laps left to go. He's got to hope the rain falls heavily, and it falls now.
That's what he's got to hope for. Well, here's the thing. If them guys knowing that it was going to rain, Jack Pearson, was he stupid to pit in for ultra soft tyres? Time will soon tell. Luca will struggle initially on those intermediate tyres.
Jack's already caught him.
Yeah, it doesn't look wet enough.
I think he was damned if he did, damned if he didn't, Chip Eddie. Maybe the best call was under the VSC to change onto the Super Softs when the first VSC came out, he didn't, and Jack just simple as you like, down the inside P5.
No contest there
at the moment. Continues.
It does. Dom Smith currently holding that 3rd place ahead of Solanix. Solanix all over the back of him now. Coming across the Anderson Bridge for the 13th time here. Mike Noon miles out in front. He just has to be sensible, really. It doesn't look like the rain's getting any heavier, though. I think Luca's gamble has not paid off here. It's still too dry. He's lost 6 seconds this lap too. Jack, although there's a little bit of spray starting to come out now, so maybe...
I think if I was Luca, I'd start looking at my mirrors at the McLaren. That code is closing in second by second.
And Bazet. Currently there are 8 runners left in this race. Luca's struggling. Luca's really struggling. I think he's overheated his tyres.
7 for your non-existent £5 bet.
Back on board here with Solanix as he chases down Dom Smith, currently holding the final spot on the podium as we start lap 14. 2 laps to go here in Singapore. It's been an eventful race. Both of them drifting out of that corner there. Solanix should open DRS. Can he get the speed advantage? Can he dive down?
John has just taken P6.
So he has Luca's gamble. Definitely hasn't worked here. Dom vigorously defending from Solanix. Solanix trying to go around the outside. Good defending, good racing actually there by the two boys, because that corner is very tricky to go side by side. So fair play to Dom Smith defending vigorously. Solanix now looking down the inside. Dom Smith slightly cutting him across there. Will Solanix do a dive? No, he doesn't. Dom Smith breaks later, and then it's generally one-way traffic as we come across the bridge. Although Dom Smith taking very compromising lines there. He'll slow him all the way through this section, and again he takes a tighter line. It'll compromise him on to the run on this straight, the one way Michael Schumacher took out a Toro Rosso. Roles could be reversed here. Careful on the brakes. It's starting to probably to get slippery for these guys. Still, it looks still way too dry for intermediate tyres, as Luca is still struggling. I think Luca's...
We are now on the final lap for the race leader. Comfortably 28 seconds clear.
Mike Noon, he does start the final lap.
Chiapelli has been passed by his teammate, who actually clips the ball out of sympathy on the way out of that corner.
Oh dear me. So, on the final lap, Mike Noon miles out in front. He can literally push it across the line. Jose in second, but the battle on track at the moment is between Dom Smith and Solanix for the final spot on the podium. Dom Smith has vigorously and defended very well this last, the previous lap. Solanix has he got the run down the inside? He already has.
Open.
No, it's Dom Smith. He's doing the cutback. Solanix has DRS though, as they are side by side coming down the straight. Very close then. Who's daring on the brakes in these tricky conditions? Solanix.
But he's back again.
Does the cutback again. It works for him. Dom Smith, great driver there by Dom Smith. He gets back into the podium spot. Solanix on a little look down the inside. Conditions are not optimal here at Singapore. A bit of drizzle, worn out tyres. I think the track is starting to get a little bit damper now as well. In the background, it looked like Jack Pearson is hauling in that gap as these guys are defending.
But he's run out of time, surely. 6 seconds. And
these guys are going to be battling on to the end. In the wet, Solanix has clipped him. Front wing damage. It's all or nothing now for Solanix. He has to go for it. He has to go for it. Front wing damage. He basically has to throw it down the inside. He's going to throw it around the outside. Mike Noon is your victor.
Mike Noon wins.
Solanix still on the Dom Smith is struggling. Solanix now has the inside line. Can he get his braking spot? But he clips Dom Smith. He forces him wide. There's still side by side. They're coming into PK corner. There's still side by side. I think Solanix has got it. He's going to get his braking point spot on with damage front wing. It looks like he has. So Solanix has stolen the final podium spot on the last lap here in Singapore from Dom Smith, who's tried as he might to defend. Dom Smith can't really look back though. He's not finished yet. The fireworks are still going off for Mike Noon as the victor. Solanix does just hold on to third place by 0.2 of a second from Dom Smith. A great battle there in the last lap. Jack Pearson
2 seconds down at the line.
Got to within 2 seconds. You're right there. Mr. John in P6.
Oh,
a bit of a lonely race
okay,
there.
I think that's just where the barrier's glitched on the spectate, but Chippy's whacked it again.
Well, now Luke has got the grip on the intermediate tyres that he's been searching for.
Just a bit too late. The good news for Chippy was Bazza pitted on the last lap. I think he had a drive-through penalty, so Chippy promoted up to 7th, and he should hold on out these last 2 corners to keep.
Having said that, Bazza's still closing on Luca, so it's still not wet enough for intermediates.
Yes, definitely indeed.
Luca is going to drift then out of the final corner. P7 for Luca, and then we just wait for the final driver, Bazza. Runs wide at the last corner. Tricky conditions to end the night here in Singapore. Bazza comes across line in P8, and that is your runners that were left in the race. So only 8 runners left in the race here in Singapore. So another eventful race here in TGP2 tonight. But Mike Noon, your clear race victor. Everything just fell into place for him. With battles and silly moves, really. Chris Johnson, silly move of the night. Got to be said. Mike Noon then lifts the trophy. How's your saying, Jonas?
I was just thinking for Jack, he should have. I can understand the frustration with Chris Johnson, but he should have really played a championship game there. The 2 cars in front were going to pit. He had second in the bag if he just sat back, let them just stay ahead, pit in. He had the gap to P3 after Joe's penalty. He risked it, had he's lost it. This, in my view, is 8 points lost for Jack rather than 10 points gained over Martin. And if anything, I'd say the real victor tonight is Mike Noon, who you'd have to say he's got a bit of a chance of the championship now.
He definitely
does. Still an outside shot, but he's definitely up in P3 now. Although I'd say Solanix is very close to him on points as well.
So there's your order. I don't have time to go through it.
I do apologise.
It's alright, not a problem. Now you would quite rightly talking about the championship. So Jack Pearson does take the lead in the championship in TGP2 tonight. Mike Nuno will be very satisfied with his results. He probably wanted more from Monza, though. He made a couple of mistakes there, lost him potentially a race victory at Monza, but do not count him out of the championship, as well as Martin Diver, who wasn't here tonight. He will be making a comeback soon. So a three-way fight for the title in progress for TGP2. That is it for tonight. I've been your host, Phil Barger. I've been joined very kindly tonight by John Luke Taylor. And
thank you for having me.
No, thank you very much. We may be back next week for more TGP2 action. See you then.